We're here today to look at some of the activities that go on this farm site. And as many of you know, we are primarily about water and the issues that surround water and effective management of water activities. Of course, we know that water is the lifeblood of agriculture here in this state as well as it is everywhere else. Of course, on my way down, I saw lots of irrigation wells running. And if it were not for those wells, I dare say that we wouldn't be the green state that we are, and agriculture would not nearly be what it is. Almost like the blood that runs within your bloodstream, the water is a very important issue for us here. We have done a lot to make sure that our water stays with us for a while. One of the things that we propose to do is use a lot of surface water to replace the groundwater. Of course, most of you know that the groundwater is actually declining here in this part of the state. So we are interested primarily in showing people how they can be more effective stewards of the water that they have, that is, keeping it clean as well as keeping it plentiful, because we want to remain a green state. The program will proceed as it is printed. First, we will have a welcome by Dr. Davis, then Mayor McGee or his designee, then Judge Troutman. So, without further ado, Dr. Davis.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning again. I want to express my appreciation for your attendance at this field day at the Lonke Farm. This is one of the great programs at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. It's part of our mission as a land-grant institution. And we would be remiss if we didn't give recognition to Dr. Cole and Dr. Reed and others who in days ago made it possible for us to have this facility. And also my accolades go out to Mr. Hancock, Dr. Glover, Dr. Gardner, and others who worked so hard in order that we may have this facility here. I hope that you will have a profitable day, and I'm sure that you will, and my best wishes for you today. Thank you for coming.
I noticed on the program this morning, Senator Glover was supposed to be here, and also the mayor of Lonke, Wayne McGee. Well, I'm not either one of them, but I'm a Charlie Troutman County judge, and welcome to be here for people who's not from Lonke County. And certainly we're awful proud that this farm is here and the work that they do pertaining to water. And good Lord at least blessed us with a pretty day today, and the weather's changed, but if any of you have any persuasion, we do need some rain. Notice Mr. Glover mentioned the irrigation wells he saw running. A good rain would stop that. But anyway, to the people that's not from Lonke County, welcome here. Wayne McGee, the mayor of Lonke, did call me. He's a little sick, and he wanted me to apologize for him not being here. Bobby Glover, Senator Glover, I don't know. Didn't talk to him this morning. But anyway, for the ones that's not here from Lonke County, welcome. The ones that live here, we know what we have. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Crumley does not appear to be here yet either, so on behalf of our dean, Dr. James Garner, who could not be here this morning because he's tied up in Memphis. Of course, those of you who are administrators know that he has to go where he needs to be. And the extension administrators are actually meeting in Memphis, Tennessee all of this week. And when we scheduled this field day, we did not take into account that he was not going to be able to be here. Actually, he will join us for the lunch hour, and he will, I guess, come in a little bit before that, so you will get a chance to see him before today is over. Also, I heard that our former dean, Dr. McCray, plans to be with us today also. So hope you enjoy your activities prior to that time. So the next person that we have is a very important person to this overall activity, and that is our resident farm manager, Mr. Julius Hancock. I can remember him coming over here in 1995 when this place, he and I first started over here, didn't quite look like it did now. but he has done a tremendous job, he and his staff. They've done a lot to make this place what it is now. One of the things that we can say is that without them, you definitely wouldn't see the activities that you see today. So Mr. Hancock, if you would, come and give us an overview of the farm activities that will be seen today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Dr. Glover. Oftentimes we wonder, why are we here? Well, today we want you to know we appreciate you being here. We're going to proceed as printed on the program, but there are a couple things I want to be sure that you have in your hand. If you do not have a map like this, you should get one from the registration table, and then we'll be able to find all these stops. Now, we're going to try to do these stops within 15-minute intervals if it's possible. So if you calculate 14 stops in 15 minutes, you know it's going to take longer than 2 hours to complete. So you may want to consider selecting the stop that you are most interested in and ask the driver to let you off the trail or off the van so you can see these areas that's important to you. And then we will pick you up and then bring you on to the next stop. There will be a rotation system going where the vans will actually be loaded first, hopefully to carry you over to the level basin demonstration and the reservoir and the wildlife area. And then we'll rotate back around to this site, and there will be a tractor available with a trailer that would carry you to the other side to look at the stops A through F. So we want to be sure that you get the most out of this day. And if you have any questions and concerns, we want you to please ask. There should be someone on each trailer who will assist you with answering these questions that you may have. Now, let's see. We're going to spend a little bit of time. I know you have your program. If you look at page 9 through 13, you will see that we have different demonstrations going on in the water management arena. Now, all of our demonstrations here on the farm do have a water component built into it. And we want you to understand that it takes quite a bit of time to complete these things, and oftentimes we find that some things may not look as pretty as they may need to look, but guess what? If you go to any farm in the state of Arkansas and other states, you'll find that they may have some spots that may not be quite as pretty too. So there's not much difference even on a university farm. And some of them are meant to be that way, especially when you get into the area of our native grass and wildlife areas. Animals don't want a pretty home. They want it to look as natural as it can look. And so we have some of these natural sites on this farm. As much as 150 acres of land is being designated for wildlife. So when you see that, don't say Hancock messed it up, because actually I created it that way. Thank you. Okay, we're going to have stops A through H. And if you look at your program, just follow through. You can notice that A is located over here. It is walking distance, so you wouldn't have to jump a tractor to trailer to ride to A. You could just walk over here to this site. And B is also to my left. So when you get ready to go further down, there should be a tractor and a trailer available here that will carry you down to see some of the activities taking place with the Cooperative Extension Service, weed science studies. Bob Scott is running that demonstration. The groundwater platform is also located in the area that's labeled C, D, so you'll be able to see that. The alternative crops, the Forestry Commission is doing some work, so they'll be set up on the E, and F is where to scan, and hopefully we'll have Brittany here to do the web, the soil survey demonstration at the scan site. You all know the scan site is located just east of the residential complex. Okay, and then if we go to F is over by the reservoir. We'll have to take the Rochelle Road and go around and come in at that point. So don't feel frightened when you walk around and we don't have anything going to get you. So just move around and enjoy yourself. We have set out different stations where you can actually move around. If you need to have a private conversation with some of your friends, that'll be okay. We want you to enjoy this place. This is why it's here. This area where you're located is our training center. This is where we actually train students about agriculture, aquaculture, and other disciplines that the university have available. And we try to provide our students with the best opportunities that we can. Also under the tree, you will find that there are other displays being set up by different people around the state of Arkansas. So feel free to move around and enjoy yourself. Okay, it's time to begin. We should have the tractors in place. The vans should be available. So now we'll begin loading the vans, hopefully, so we can start at the reservoir area, and then we'll take off to the other sites. Okay.
Hi, my name is Jason Miller. I'm the manager of the Joe Hogan State Fish Hatchery in Lone Oak, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission hatchery, and we have been in an agreement with University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff since 2001 that allows us to utilize the fish ponds on this facility on the small outreach farm. We currently use this facility for production of fathead minnows, for the production of triploid grass carp, channel catfish, diploid grass carp. Part of our agreement is maintaining the ponds, renovating the ponds as necessary, maintenance and upkeep of wells, and it's been a very good project for both UAPB and Arkansas Game and Fish Commission to this point. It's allowed us to culture fish in a way that we didn't have the capabilities to do before. We didn't have the pond space to culture fathead minnows for our nursery ponds. For our other hatcheries, it's given us a chance to provide a forage fish for largemouth bass, for other sport fish that we grow at our other warm water hatchery. So it's been a really good agreement for both parties. It's allowed this facility to be maintained and kept up at a little bit better than what it was. I don't believe that the staffing or funding was there initially 10 years ago to maintain this facility. So it's been a good agreement for both of us. Today we're here just to let people know what Game and Fish does on this facility, and like I said, it's mainly a production facility for us to supply fathead minnows and grass carp and channel catfish, and we brought an aquarium out just to give people an idea of our aquatic resources education program and literature, and let them know what we're doing.
Hi, I'm Jessica Vincent, and I'm with the University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture, and I'm here at the UAPB Field Day in Lone Oak. And I'm here today to talk about AgriBility. And what AgriBility is a program sponsored by the USDA. It's been around since 1991, but it is new to Arkansas, just as of July of this year. And it is a program that helps disabled farmers to be able to continue farming, basically. The disabilities can range from anything from hearing loss and arthritis, which happen to be the two #1 disabilities for the state of Arkansas, all the way down to more extensive disabilities such as amputations, paraplegics, those kinds of things. What we do at the university is education outreach. So we're here at the field day today to educate Arkansas communities on the hearing loss prevention program that we have. In addition to that, we also have partners throughout the state, such as ICANN of Arkansas, which is our assistive technology partner, and they help us with creating devices that will enable farmers to continue to do normal daily activities, such as being able to eat. We have special utensils they can use, all the way up to special screwdrivers and hammers, to more complex assistive technology to adapt their tractor so they can still get on their tractors and still be able to use their tractors. In addition to that, we have a partner with the Arthritis Foundation, which is the southeast region that covers Arkansas and Louisiana. And since arthritis is one of the top 2 disabilities for the state of Arkansas, we work with them as well. And those adaptive tools can be used for various types of arthritis, because there are over 100 different types of arthritis. So if you know anybody within the Arkansas communities who may be suffering from some type of disability, and a lot of people don't realize that they have a disability, since hearing loss and arthritis are 2 of the disabilities. They don't really consider that to be a disability, but it really is. So if you know of anybody who has a disability, please refer them to your Cooperative Extension Service local county office, and then that will come to me, which is at the state office, and we'll get them the education and assistance that they need.
Good afternoon. My name is Willard Ryland. I'm the herbaceous grass specialist for University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff here at the Lone Oak Farm. This particular project that we're working with is with the Corps of Engineers. Our particular effort here is to produce native grass seed for production purposes for the Balmeda and Grand Prairie irrigation projects. This particular project has been very challenging in the sense that these particular grasses, we're working with 4 different species of grasses. We're working with switchgrass, we're working with big blue, little blue, and Indian grass. And also there's 2 additional species that we're also working with, is cord and eastern gamma grass. And the purpose of these particular projects is to provide the seed in order to establish erosion control on the levees that are going to be constructed as part of the irrigation project for the Grand Prairie and the Baomita. Some of the challenges that we're facing with this particular project is that some of these seed have low germination, and then we're working these seed with in a production mode where we're going to be irrigating these particular grass seed and trying to get the germination levels up. We're also providing in the spring of the year, we're adding fertilizer to the grass seed to this particular plant. We also, as a cultural practice, after about 3 years, we're actually burning some of the sites, and that helps to stimulate growth as well. UAPB has been working for the last 6 or 7 years with the Corps of Engineers on this particular project, and it's a tremendous effort, particularly because this particular grass species, especially with the switchgrass, these particular cultivars are only located in this Grand Prairie area. So I want to just try to reiterate one of the other objectives that we're trying to work with is trying to encourage small socially disadvantaged farmers as a new enterprise as an alternative crop as well. We're working very aggressively with UAPB Small Farm Program, trying to identify interested parties who may be interested in trying to raise these particular species of grass, because there is a tremendous demand for this particular seed. We're working with UAPB Small Farm Program as well as the Corps to try to come up with some new innovative ways where we can try to get these farmers involved in this particular process. One of the things that we want to try to do is to teach these individuals that may be interested in these native grasses on the establishment, the management, and the harvesting of these particular seed. Because we feel that it's going to be something in the future that is going to be available as a new enterprise for farmers in this particular area.
Hi, I'm Dr. LaVonna Trawick with the University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture, and I'm here at the UAPB Field Day to tell people about hearing loss prevention. And what a lot of people who work on the farms or farmers don't realize is that it's not just how loud the farm equipment or other noise is, it's also how long you're exposed to it. Just to give you a frame of reference, normal conversation is about 60 decibels, and anything over 85 decibels can cause permanent hearing loss. And that includes everything from your lawnmower to your tractor to your combines, chainsaws, gunshots, etc., even squealing pigs. But as I said, it's not just how loud it is, it's also how long. For example, a chainsaw is about 109 to 110 decibels, and anything that's that loud can cause permanent hearing damage in less than 2 minutes. So don't just think, well, I've just got to run, do something real quick. Wear your hearing protection every time. Which one's the best? The one you're actually going to wear. Whether it's plugs or muffs or something in between, wear the one you're actually going to wear.
Hello, my name is Obadiah Njue, and I'm the Extension Horticulture Specialist at UAPB, and I'm here today to share with the Field Day participants on how we can diversify small farms using small fruits. And the 2 types of fruits that we're working on here to demonstrate and also to determine the performance are the blackberries. We have 4 different varieties here, some thorny and some thornless. And we also have some muscadines on a different plot where we are evaluating 7 different varieties of muscadines. And these 2 crops are really good for diversifying small farms.
Right, I'm Dave Bowling with the Arkansas Forestry Commission. We're part of the Arkansas Agriculture Department. This is Zachary Taylor. He's the marketing director for the department. And we're here at UAPB Field Day because we have progeny tests that we've had here for about 15 years. And you look way off in the distance out there, and those trees that are in very uniform blocks are our progeny tests. We have 11 hardwood and pine progeny tests that are here. And that's what we do, is kind of explain the relationship that we have with UAPB. We have our largest number of progeny tests in one location here at this farm. So it's an important relationship we have with UAPB. I like to go over just a little bit of the tree improvement process, because that's what we're here for, is genetic testing. So the tree improvement process began back in the 70s, where we made first generation selections from natural stands out in the wild. And we grafted those first generation selections into breeding orchards. We took those selections, planted into tests, and tested those trees, measured those, and ranked the best of those, and those became our first generation parents. We then planted those parents into the production orchards. That's where we got seed for our first improved loblolly pine, which was produced at our Balcom Nursery in North Little Rock in the mid-70s. In the 80s and 90s, we did controlled cross-pollinations of the best of those first generation parents and planted those in progeny tests like we have here at UAPB Farm at Lonoke. We measured those tests and then made our second generation selections from those tests. Those were then grafted again into our breeding orchards. We continued the breeding process and grafted the best of the seconds, and those were put into the production orchards along with the best of the first. We never lose anything that has important genetic value. We carry that forward so we don't ever lose our genetic base. Then in the 2000s, we're crossing the best of the first and the seconds, and that creates our third cycle, and then we continue that process. So genetic improvement has resulted last year and this year in a 39% gain in overall volume of growth, as well as even greater gains in wood quality, form, and disease resistance. So that's what we do on loblolly pine. It's an older program, so we have more data. But our hardwood program is exactly the same process. This is an overview map of all of the tests that are here at UAPB Lonoke Farm. You can see that we have loblolly pine tests. There are 5, and there are 6 hardwood tests. This is on 80 total acres of ground, and we have planted in trees. We have to have turn rows and rows to work the test. So actual planted in trees, we have 41.84 acres of total trees, and there are over 24,000 trees that are in the test down here. So this is the overall process, and the end result are seedlings, and so that's what we have over here. Can you follow me over this way? This is a little overview of the nursery that we have, the species that we grow. We have brochures for the nursery and some of the programs that we have within the Forestry Commission. So this is a brochure that describes what the requirements are for purchasing seedlings from the state and the price list. And these are a list of availability that we have this year. So that's what we do with the Forestry Commission here at UAPB. It's all designed to give landowners of the state the best genetic quality plant material that we can. And I'll let Zach take over, Zach Taylor, and describe a little bit about what the Arkansas Agriculture Department does for all agriculture.
My name's Zach Taylor. I'm with the Arkansas Agriculture Department, and I'm here today to talk about just what is the Arkansas Agriculture Department and what are we doing for farmers here in Arkansas. We're a new department. We were founded in 2005 by the Arkansas State Legislature with the initial goal of helping market Arkansas's agriculture, our crops, our livestock, horticulture, produce, everything that we produce on an ag level here in the state. What we're currently doing is we are currently attending trade shows and developing market programs that we hope to take on for the next 5 or 10 years to help in other states and even in world markets understand what Arkansas has and how Arkansas products can benefit them. One good example is David Bowling, who just spoke to you a minute ago, and I just returned Monday from Texas, where in San Antonio we attended the Texas Nursery and Landscape Association annual show, and this was the second largest nursery and landscape show in the nation. And you might say, well, you know, what does that have to do with Arkansas? Well, Texas is a $9 billion nursery, horticulture, and landscape market, and it's right next door to Arkansas. And so Mr. Bowling and I went down there to help the Texas nurseries understand that our wholesalers here in Arkansas have products for them, and to also develop sales leads. And while we were down there, we took a publication that my department developed that lists all the wholesale nursery, landscape, and turf grass groups here in Arkansas, so that the consumers in Texas would know that there's products here in Arkansas that they might want to buy. And so attending that show was just a very good example of what we do. We go out and market Arkansas goods to everyone from the Produce Marketing Association, which their show's in Orlando this fall, to National Cattlemen's Associations, National Grocery Retailer Associations. The Arkansas Department of Ag is out there making sure that those buyers know that here in Arkansas we have stuff to offer them, and that we have some of the highest quality stuff in the United States, and that we will work with them, be it if they're in Washington State or if they're in China. We'll work with them to help them purchase and transport Arkansas goods to their state for sale.
Okay, now this stop deals with the profitability of sweet potatoes in the Arkansas Delta. Okay, I am Henry English. I work with the Small Farm Program at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. We work in approximately, I think, 29 counties. Most of them are in eastern Arkansas. Some are in southwest Arkansas. Now, under the Small Farm Program, we have a number of different projects that we operate. One is a risk management project. On that risk management project, there are several things that we do, but I want to mention three specific things. One is we help farmers diversify with alternative crops like sweet potato. Two, we help them to keep records, good records. And three, we help them develop farm financial plans that include a cash flow projection. Now that cash flow projection is used in estimating the expenses and income, and it also helps them when they go to the bank in case they need to get a loan. Okay, at this particular stop, again, we want to talk about sweet potatoes. We have some farmers in eastern Arkansas that are growing sweet potatoes. And one of the big things is how much it costs. I guess with bankers and et cetera, they're interested in how much it would cost. So what we have done is we've worked with two producers, okay, and we've gotten their records. Gotten those records. We've passed them on to Dr. Dunbar, okay, and she has agreed to help us put together an enterprise budget basically for these specific farms so that we can determine exactly how much it costs and what the profit potential is. Now keep in mind also that when we're growing sweet potatoes are a high-risk crop, and we say that because there's no crop insurance. We look at a year like last year, where we had all the rain. I think we had 20 inches above normal. Then a lot of farmers lost because of the rain. And it would have been better if they could have had crop insurance, but there was no crop insurance. Now we do advise all of them to take out the NAP program, which is a program through the FSA that will help offset some of the loss from a disaster program. Another problem that we could talk to farmers about is that in the Delta, most of the acres are on base acres. Most of the sweet potatoes are grown on base acres. Base acres are those acres that they get finances from the government on. They'll get those subsidy payments. There's a penalty if you grow sweet potatoes on base acres, so they must opt out. So they must make enough money to cover the acres, the income that they've lost from base acres. Now with that, I'm going to cut it short and turn it over to Dr. Dunbar to go through the actual income and expense projection. Dr. Dunbar.
Yes, so what I've done is I've tried to develop an enterprise budget that is specific to the farmers that we work with, the small and limited resource farmers. We determined that if you grow number ones at $17 per acre, his yield was $210 an acre. That came to $3,570. The jumbos were $10.62 per bushel. He got a yield of 52 bushels per acre, and that came to $552. The culled and processed was $4 per bushel times 88 bushels per acre gave us $352. So if you utilize Dr. English's technology as it relates to growing sweet potatoes, you can come out with a yield with a revenue per acre of $4,474 per acre. This is on a per acre basis. So Dr. English, help us to turn it over to show the expenses. Now the revenue looks really good, but when we start talking about the expenses associated with growing an acre of sweet potatoes, then you have fertilizer costs, seed costs, insecticide, labor, the packing and harvest costs, diesel, repair and maintenance, your interest on operating expenses. All of this totals to $2,050.84 per acre, plus the fixed expense of $133.70 per acre. So your total specified expenses of $2,184 per acre. Once we take the amount we had on the other side, the revenue, and subtract out of the expenses, we have returns of $2,162.02 per acre. So we're saying if you utilize the technology that Dr. English is suggesting, you can make a profit of $2,162 per acre. And this particular farmer had 65 acres. So you would multiply this amount times the 65 acres, and that'll tell you how much you can make growing sweet potatoes. If you utilize this technology, you could be very profitable in growing the sweet potato.
My name is Ken Crater. I'm soil scientist down at Pine Bluff. This is Brittany Singleton, and she's
Hello, I'm Brittany Singleton. I'm also a soil scientist down in Pine Bluff.
Today, SCAN, it stands for the Soil Climate Analysis Network, and it's a set up to measure the soil water, our soil moisture, soil temperature, the air temperature, barometric pressure, solar energy, and wind speeds and directions. There are 6 sites that are here in Arkansas, and they're located at kind of different spots. There's one there at Point Removed, one at Earl, here at Lone Oak and DeWitt, and then the one at the UAPB campus. And they monitor these different data, and it is sent to the National Water and Climate Center in Portland, Oregon. And there it's analyzed. And Brittany will talk about the websites for the scan data.
So Ken is exactly right. Here behind us you can see some of the equipment collecting the data. In the background we also have more equipment which is collecting the wind speed and direction with the little propeller. We have a rain gauge with the yellow colored top, and then also another instrument measuring the air temperature. Once all of this information is collected, it's sent to Portland, Oregon, and posted on a national website. The website is www.wcc.nrcs.usda.gov/scan, SCAN. This is right off of the home page of the website. We selected the Lone Oak site to view the data, and we have lots of different options on this website. We can choose whether we want to look at soil temperature, soil moisture, air temperature, wind speed and direction, solar radiation, precipitation. So once we choose what kind of report we want, we can choose whether we want to look at it from a daily perspective, an hourly perspective, or at certain times during the day. We can choose to look at it for the past 24 hours, the past 7 days, the past 30 days, or the past calendar year. You can also view historic information going back to September of 1999. One of the new features of this website is it will give you the report in an Excel format, and also it will chart the data for you. Over here you can see where we've printed off the daily precipitation chart for the week of the last 30 days from July 24th until August 23rd. And we also printed the daily wind force and direction for the week of August 16th, 2010. So from the same website, you can access data for any of the scan sites across the nation.
I'm John Zarnecki. I'm the groundwater specialist with the U.S. Geological Survey out of Little Rock, and Aaron Pugh is with me. We're here in front of one of our observation wells, which is a measurement that we make every 15 minutes of the water level in the alluvial aquifer. Right now, the depth to water is about 120 feet below where I'm standing, and it's instrumented so that the data is transmitted by way of a cell phone antenna to a central location. You can go online and see what the water level is doing at this site. We also have several other stations scattered throughout the state which measure depth to water, very similar to this setup. This is part of a network that we monitor continually. We also measure depths to water on a biannual basis here in the alluvial aquifer and also in the Sparta aquifer. Those are the two largest aquifers which produce 99% of the water from groundwater in the state. This aquifer is important for the agricultural community. On average, we pump the equivalent of 10,000 Olympic swimming pools every day from about 50,000 wells in the alluvial aquifer. Without it, you couldn't have the agriculture that we have in this state. It's just that important a resource. We have some weather stations next to us that are part of the farm. We can use both the weather data and the change in water levels to estimate hydraulic properties associated with the hydrologic system. One of the other things that we do is collect all this data and build groundwater simulation models which help us make predictions regarding the water resources underneath the ground. Aaron's put up a what we call a hydrograph, which shows the change in water levels with time. You can see the 15-minute data here plotted against precipitation. These are changes in precipitation from a median value. You can see last year we had a really wet year, but surprisingly, water levels really didn't come up a lot due to all that additional rain. We had about 30 inches of additional rain in 2009 compared to the average, but our water level really didn't change that much from the year before. And part of that is because water doesn't like to go down through the clay that is on the surface. We have a fairly thick clay cap that covers the alluvial aquifer here shown in yellow. It varies in thickness, but it impedes water flow from land surface down to the aquifer. It's great if you're growing rice. It'll hold the water back, allow you to flood the fields, but it keeps water from going down, which is causing some of the areas in the alluvial aquifer to be depleted much faster than the recharge needed to maintain the water levels. So that's where we're at today, and we'll be here all day. If if you get a chance, come out to the farm and see our equipment, or go online, ar.water.usgs.gov, and you can get our water level data right from this well.
I'm Pat Bass with Sullivan & Associates engineering firm, and we're under contract with UAPB and have been for a number of years, and we do the engineering work here on this farm as well as the Mariana UAPB farm. And what we are looking at here today is about a 40-acre reservoir that was constructed out of extremely weak silt type soils that is water unstable. Whenever water hits it, the clay particles dissolve and is very erosive. And particularly when you got a reservoir like this with a lot of surface area, wave action can just tear up slopes tremendously. So what we did on this reservoir is we have designed it as a study where we can compare various slope configurations in the construction of on-farm reservoirs and look at various configurations as well as slope treatments, everything from real flat side slopes to steeper side slopes, with some areas have berms that are extra areas a little below the water level. We also looking at treatments like using geosynthetic type mesh material to lay out and help keep the soil in place. Looking at things like soil cement, the uses of chemical treatments like soil cement and fly ash, and we've also used hydrated lime and chicken litter and compost of various things. Anyway, the whole reservoir has about every 100 feet you've got a different type of slope configuration around the reservoir, and the area you're looking at now is on the northern side of the reservoir, and most of the winds in Arkansas go from southwest to northeast. So what we did on this, when we designed this reservoir, we put the same slope configurations on the south side as we did the north side, and so we could, see what the comparison is, where the water's working against the waves, or the waves are working with the wind or against the wind. One area right here close that we're looking at is the area right here. This particular area that has bare soil on it was treated with fly ash. Next to it is some soil cement and then hydrated lime. And then on around you've got geosynthetic. I know it's hard to see, but anyway, we're just now, this is the first year we've been able to really examine the comparison of the slopes. So a study will be made and a report written as to what works. Hopefully this will help farmers in the future knowing the best way to build reservoirs. It'll help designers and agencies to understand what works best for the various types of soils that we're dealing with. So that's what we're looking at here.
I'm Keith Admire. I'm Director of the National Water Management Center of the Natural Resources Conservation Service in Little Rock, Arkansas. And our center has had a long-standing partnership with the UAPB Lone Oak Farm, and part of that is looking for ways to test new technologies and demonstrate new technologies related to water resource and water use, irrigation. And I'm standing in front of a 27-acre field that our center teamed up with UAPB and the Lone Oak Farm to zero grade this field. It's level as a board from one end to the other, and which is great for rice production, and in fact this is rice obviously this year. The field across the road that we'll talk about here in a minute is another 27-acre. Both are 27-acre fields. It was graded to a 1/10 grade, which is a typical system in the Arkansas Delta. And the idea was to compare the water use and the management of the two fields, a zero grade field and a graded. So the thing that I think that stands out today that I'd like to point out is when you have a zero graded field. Oh, let me back up. We also have flow meters for both of these fields where we can measure every inch of water that comes into the field, both of them. And then we have these boxes, they're weir boxes, that we've set up so we can measure the water that comes off the field. And if you notice on this box right here, there's water about 3 or 4 inches below the top of this weir. And that's the level of water for that whole 27-acre field. And the beauty of that is none of it's running off right now. Also, if we were to get a rain tonight, say a 2-inch rain, every inch of that rain will stay right here on this field, and that's just that much less water. It's got to be pumped out of the groundwater. So it's a significant savings of groundwater or whatever your source of your water is. Also, I'm not a rice expert, but just looking at the rice in this field versus the graded field, it looks to be more uniform, fuller, and I think research has shown that with proper management of water, you do have yield impacts as well. So there's lots of good benefits of managing water in the zero grade technology. On the other side of the field, a road over here, we're on our graded field. If we can make our way over there. You can see the levees out through the field because the field has slope on it. And if you can hear and see, there's water running off the field. And that's typical for any graded rice field. The source of the water is at the high end of the field. It's very difficult to know how long to pump water. You have to make it sure you flood up the whole field. And by doing it with some guesswork, you almost always will have water running off the end of the field. So the comparison of these two fields is you're going to use a lot less water on the zero grade. I think most people, zero grade's been around, well, it's been around for a long time in some parts of the country, but in the Delta, it's been in operation 15 to 20 years. One of the questions and one of the main reasons we did this, not only for the water savings for rice, was the question of soybean production. Can you grow soybeans on zero graded field because of the drainage issues that come with not having a sloped field? And also there's water management. How do you irrigate zero graded soybeans? The first 3 years, this is the 4th year, right Theotis, that this has been in operation. There's been soybeans the first 3 years. First couple years there were issues. It was newly graded and being constructed, so it wasn't a good year to measure data. Last year was so wet, it didn't matter if it was zero graded or graded. There was a lot of water problems. So that's the second goal of this project, is to show the water savings for rice production, but also the management techniques for growing soybeans on a zero graded field. And it's a work in progress. I think excited to be part of it, and it's just an example of the cutting edge technology and having it available for people to see. And part of the project's purpose was, like I said, was to measure the water efficiency of these two systems. And to do that, UAPB and some of their consulting engineer and they spoke to us. We thought it was a great idea. They said, well, let's use some new technologies on how we measure this water flow off. And so they've got pressure transducers connected to some equipment that sends this data up to a satellite, so that and no matter where I'm at and whoever is interested can look and see what the status of the fields are at any particular time, how much water is running off. It's just using some really cutting-edge technology to put information into the hands of the, in this case, the managers of the farm. But should someone want to do this on their farms, it shows how that technology can be used to help manage water, make it better, make better use of the water.